Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Roger Paul, and tonight we are going to start a new paper, Paper 31, The Core of Finality. And this starts on page 345 of the original book. And let's say a little prayer and we will get started. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight that we might study your wonderful revelation. Thank you for those who come study with us, and thank you for those who listen at home on Facebook and YouTube and Vimeo. And we thank you for everyone that listens to them later on. Very important to us to spread this wonderful revelation that other people might know about it and enjoy life, knowing where they're going, just like we do. We thank you. We give you the praise in your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen. It's really interesting, y'all. I spent about 4 hours today straightening up some titles and a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube and Vimeo. And I went through 490 videos on Vimeo. Do y'all believe we've met that many times over the years? 490 videos. That's a lot of listening to me yak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I have to I should send Millie and Rodney sympathy cards for staying with me all these years.
I enjoyed all of it, Roger. I enjoyed all of it.
Well, thank you, dear. I appreciate it. I really do. All right. So, interesting paper we got tonight. The last time I was telling everybody before we started recording, the last time we did this, we went through the whole paper, an hour and 36 minutes. We won't make it through it this time because I'm going to explain some things a little bit more than we used to. First, I want to start out the importance of the core of finality to us right now. Because if you think about it, the core of finality personally for us is a way far off, right? But in reality, it's not, because we have at least 1 to 2 mortal cores assigned to our planet all the time. And we don't even know about it, right? So what do these beings do? They help run the celestial government and advise them and stuff. Remember, to get to the mortal core of finality, you have to learn all about local universe administration. Then you have to learn about super universe administration. Then you have to learn about Havona administration, eventually paradise administration. So when they come back to serve on the planets in the super universes, first of all, they have to serve on all 6 of the other super universes before they come back to their universe of origin. Okay, so they bring experience from other super universes, which is kind of nice for us because they help administer in the background the things we don't see. And we're not talking about, you know, our little government here on the planet. We're talking about the celestial government that runs the planet, right? So that's the importance of who these beings are, what they're doing. So there's 1,000 beings in each core, and there's 1 to 2 on our planet all the time. So we have 1,000 different beings helping us out all the time. So that makes a difference, I hope, right? All right. So Diane, would you start with the first part there for me? I'm going to move it up while you're reading, okay?
Paper 31, the core of the finality. The core of mortal finaliters represents the present known destination of the ascending adjuster fused mortals of time. But there are other groups who are also assigned to this core. The primary finaliter core is composed of the following: 1. Havona natives. 2. Gravity messengers. 3. Glorified mortals. 4. Adopted seraphim. 5. Glorified material sons. 6. Glorified midway creatures.
Roger, you're muted.
I'm muted. Thanks, Melly. You
That's
could have
good.
interrupted me, even though I was muted. Okay, so the interesting part of this is, let me say this again, for all those that missed it, is the fact that all these beings have to have a thought adjuster to become part of the mortal core of finality. Okay, so all the beings that don't have thought adjusters, like the Havona natives and the seraphim and beings like that, that are not given a thought adjuster immediately, they have to be given one before they become part of the mortal core of finality, and they have to fuse with that adjuster also. All right, so that's kind of interesting to know, because the Havona natives, you know, comes from Havona and paradise. And so they're pretty much perfected beings. So it's interesting they have to have a thought adjuster too. All right. And you'll notice here in this list, it said Diane brought this up earlier tonight, and that is, it says adopted seraphim. What does that mean?
I don't know. I looked a page or two over and I can see we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Why would they adopted? It'll tell us.
I'm going to tell you right now, they're adopted because they're adopted into the mortal core of finality. Okay, so they are, we know they're service beings from the infinite spirit, and they go through their own ascension plan, right? But in order for them to be part of the mortal core of finality, they also have to have a thought adjuster. So literally, the mortal core of a finality adopts them as just like they are human, okay, because they get a thought adjuster. So they're adopted beings into the core. All right. All right. Let's, Millie, would you take the next paragraph, please?
These 6 groups of glorified beings compose this unique body of eternal destiny. We think we know their future work, but we're not certain. While the core of the mortal finality is mobilizing on paradise, and while they now so extensively minister to the universes of space and administer to the world set in light and life, their future destination must be the now organizing universes of outer space. At least that is the conjecture of Uversa.
That's what they think the course is going to do, right? Nobody is 100% sure, but it's interesting in this paragraph, they say 2 specifically different things at the same time. And that is they exclusively minister, you see that, to the universes of space, and administer the world settled in light and life. So they have 2 functions. They're not only ministering beings, they are administering beings for those worlds who have reached light and life. Now, the worlds who have not reached light and life, like ours, they help administer through the celestial beings that's already here. All right. And they supposedly minister to us. How they do that, I do not know. I can't tell you, but that's what they say they do. That's their current work, right? For all those not currently staying on paradise. All right. Letch, would you take the next one, please?
Sure. The core is organized in accordance with the working associations of the worlds of space, and in keeping with the associative experience acquired throughout the long and eventful ascendant career. All the ascendant creatures admitted to this core are received in equality, but this exalted equality in no way abrogates individuality or destroys personal identity. We can immediately discern in communication with the finaliter whether he is an ascendant mortal, Havana native, adopted seraphim, midway creature, or material son.
So they sense the type of beings they are just by talking to each other, you know. So I guess because of each individual background, they would not only answer differently, they would sound different probably from one type of being to another. All right. Rodney, would you take the next one, please?
Yes. During the present universe age, the finaliters return to serve in the universes of time. They are assigned to labor successfully in the different super universes and never in their native super universes until after they have served in all the other 6 super creations. Thus may they acquire the 7-fold concept of the Supreme Being.
Okay, so they have to serve in all 6 before they come back to their origin, right? Now, why would they acquire the 7-fold concept of the Supreme Being, do you think? Think about this. We talked about this in a few different classes. Each of the 7 super universes are the reflection of a combination, a different combination of the Trinity, right? One super universe reflects God the Father, one God the Son, one God the Spirit, one all 3, the Trinity, which is the 7th super universe, which is us, right? One's a combination of the Son and the Spirit. One is the combination of the Son and the Father. One is the combination of the Father and the Spirit, and the Father and the Son. So, you know, it covers 7 different viewpoints in that super universe. So all beings that come from that 7 super universe will reflect that viewpoint, right? So when we come from our super universe, we will reflect what? The Trinity itself, God the Father, God the Son, and God the Spirit. So the experience that the Supreme is collecting right now comes from all 7 of these. So serving in all 7, that allows the finaliters to collect the concepts of all combinations of the Supreme Being. Makes sense?
Mhm.
Now, remember I talk about we have a little bit of an advantage. What's our advantage? We come from the 7 super universes, and guess who's the vicegerent of the Supreme right now?
The 7th Master Spirit.
You got it, Jane. You're a good student. Hit it right on the head, the 7th Master Spirit. So we get that concept of the combination, not only in God the Father, God the Son, God the Spirit, but we get that concept to our 7th Master Spirit, who's the vicegerent of the Supreme, who's collecting all these also, right? So we get kind of a double whammy there, if you would. All right. Jane, would you take the next one, please?
Okay. One or more companies of the mortal finaliters are constantly in service on Urantia. There is no domain of universe service to which they are not assigned. They function universally and with alternating and equal periods of assigned duty and free service.
Okay, so we constantly have one or more companies of finaliters in service on our planet all the time. And notice here it says there's no domain of universe service to which they are not assigned. Now, what are they talking about there? They're talking about the administration of the planet, right? Thank you for moving. Appreciate it. All right. So they also have free time, just like we will, as we go through the process, going through the 7 super universes. So they get to explore the planet and that sort of thing too. All right.
Roger,
Yes.
will they tell us what they do, the actual duties?
Not while we're in this state, not while we're in the mortal state, but when we leave this mortal state, they would, as soon as we get to the mansion worlds, they would be free to discuss with us, because we'll be able to see them then. They'll be able to discuss with us all their duties that they had on any planet, right? Makes sense. They're not allowed to before then because that would be what? Revelation that has to be approved through the Ancients of Days.
Would
Right.
it be wrong on our part to think in the lines that they could be working with the gravity circuits?
They
Could they
be.
help us in our mindal? I don't know.
You know, Jane, I don't know that. I really don't. I don't know if they could or not. That might be possible. Yeah. But I can't say for sure. That
Mhm.
would just be speculation, right? All right. Let's see here. Diane, I believe you're next.
We have no idea as to the nature of the future organization of this extraordinary group, but the finalitors are now wholly a self-governing body. They choose their own permanent, periodic, and assignment leaders and directors. No outside influence can ever be brought to bear upon their policies, and their oath of allegiance is only to the Paradise Trinity.
So they're self-governing. So they don't have people telling them what to do or anything. They choose their own leaders and they follow whatever their own leaders tell them to do. Their only allegiance is to the Trinity itself. And that's part of the finaliter oath, right? All right. Let's go on to the next one. Millie, would you take the next one, please?
Mhm. The finaliters maintain their own headquarters on Paradise, in the super universes, in the local universes, and on all the divisional capitals. They are a separate order of evolutionary creatures, and we do not directly manage them or control them, and yet they are absolutely loyal and always cooperative with our plans. They are indeed the accumulating tried and true souls of time and space, evolutionary salt of the universe. And they are forever proof against evil and secure against sin.
So you can pretty much count on them all the time, right?
Yeah, we say salt of the earth. They said salt of the universe. I thought that was
Salt-
cute.
Yeah, salt of the universe, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the next one. Havona natives. Letch, would you take that one, please? First paragraph.
Many of the Havana natives who serve as teachers in the pilgrim training schools of the central universe become greatly attached to the ascending mortals and still more integrated with the future work and destiny of the core.
Intrigued with the future work.
What?
More intrigued with instead of integrated.
With mortal finaliters. On Paradise, there is maintained at the administration headquarters of the Corps a registry for Havana volunteers presided over by the Associate of Krantanda. Today, you will find millions upon millions of Havana natives upon this waiting list. These perfect beings of direct and divine creation are of great assistance to the mortal core of finality, and they will undoubtedly be of even greater service in the far distant future. They provide the viewpoint of one born in perfection and divine repleteness. Finaliters thus embrace both phases of experiential existence, perfect and perfected.
Okay, so let me tell you how important it is when we get to the core of finality. Notice here it says millions upon millions of Havana natives are upon the waiting list. So this is a sought after position to become part of the core of finality, right? Because the Havana natives thinks it's important enough to get a thought adjuster and become part of this group that everyone wants to be on the list to do that, right? So what a privilege we have that we can just go right into it if we choose to and keep our P's and Q's right, right? All right. The other thing I probably should mention is the embrace of both experiential existence, perfect and perfected. What would they be talking about there? The experiential being beings like us, right? And then the perfect and perfected, the perfect being the paradise natives and the Havona natives, right? And the perfected would be beings like us that have earned perfection by the climb up, right? So,
Good.
yeah, so that's pretty important too, I think. All right, Rodney, would you take the next one too?
Havana natives must achieve certain experiential developments in liaison with evolutionary beings, which will create reception capacity for the bestowal of a fragment of the spirit of the Universal Father. The mortal finality core has permanent members only such beings as have been fused with the spirit of the first source and center, or who, like the gravity messengers, innately embody the spirit of God the Father.
Okay, let me go backwards on this paragraph. Let's take up the gravity messengers first. The gravity messengers don't have to have a fragment of God. Why is that? Because the gravity messengers are directly created by the Spirit of God the Father. So they already entail a original spirit like the thought adjuster that's directly connected from to the first source and center and comes from the first source and center. So that's why they don't have to have an adjuster, right? Okay, but the Havona natives have to have a capacity for the fragment of the Universal Father. And in order to have capacity for that fragment of the Universal Father, they have to do what? They have to gain experiential knowledge or developments from other evolutionary beings. How do they do that? They serve with them in Havona. So when we get to Havona, the experience we're having with the Havona natives gives something to the Havona natives also, which is what? Evolutionary experiential development. Makes sense?
So it sounds like they're gonna really want to be with us to gain that experience.
That's exactly right, Rodney. They want to be with us so that they can gain that experience. And by gaining that experience, when they get on the waiting list for the mortal choral finality, they will be ready for what? A thought adjuster, if they get chosen, right? So it all works together. Now, remember that the gravity messengers don't have to have thought adjusters. There's another in the group that doesn't also, and I'm not going to spoil it by mentioning it before we get to it, okay? And that's because they innately embody the spirit of the Father from creation. All right. Let's see. Jane, I believe you're up next.
Okay. The inhabitants of the central universe are received into the core in the ratio of 1 in 1,000, a finaliter company. The core is organized for temporary service in companies of 1,000, the ascendant creatures numbering 997 to 1 Havona native and 1 gravity messenger. Finaliters are thus mobilized in companies, but the finality oath is administered individually. It is an oath of sweeping implications and eternal import. The Havona natives take the same oath and becomes forever attached to the core.
Okay. this is a little confusing because we're going to get to a chart down here that talks about 990 of the beings in the 1000 in a core of finality are human. Okay. Right here, it says the ascendant creatures numbering 997. Why does it say 997, not 990? That's important to understand. Okay, it'll confuse you if you don't take it right. 990 of them are actual ascendant mortals. The others are ascendant seraphim, material sons and daughters, midwayers. Did I forget one? I think that's it. So the others that make up this, the 997 are not mortals. They're the other types of beings. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But there is 997 ascendant beings. And then there's one Havona native, only one in a core. And there's only one gravity messenger in a core. Okay. And remember, it's the gravity messenger that embodies the Spirit of God the Father, right? So that's two, the other two. There's one left, isn't there? Because there's 1,000.
So what's up?
Right? We're going to talk about the one that's left over in just a minute. Okay. But that's the 1,000. And we're going to break it down a little bit more, a little bit further on. So that is basically the makeup of the 1,990 ascendant creatures, one Havona native, one gravity messenger, and one more. And we're going to talk about him in a minute. Okay. Next. Gary, would you take the next one?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time seeing folks, so bear with me. The
Okay.
Havana recruits follow the company of their assignment. Wherever the group goes, they go. And you should see their enthusiasm in the new work of the finaliters, the possibility of attaining the core of the finality is one of the superb thrills of Havana. The possibility of becoming a finaliter is one of the supreme adventures of these perfect races.
So they consider this one of the grandest thing that they could ever do, right? The Havana natives. All right. So it's very important when they get chosen to them. Okay. Diane, would you take the next one, please?
The Havona natives are also received in the same ratio into the core of conjoint trinitized finaliters or Feist-Jerrington, and into the core of transcendental finaliters on Paradise. The Havona citizens regard these three destinies as constituting the supreme goals of their supernal careers, together with their possible admission to the core of Havona finaliters.
Okay.
Okay, so there is a ratio of 1 in 1,000 in the core of trinitized finaliters, and the same thing on the core of the transcendental finaliters, but that's not the case with the core of the Havona finaliters, because that's the core of the Havona finaliters themselves, right? So that's what they're saying. The ratio is the same on all the rest of them. All right, gravity messengers. Millie, would you take the first paragraph on that one?
Number 2, gravity messengers. Wherever and whenever gravity messengers are functioning, the finaliters are in command. All gravity messengers are under the exclusive jurisdiction of Gran Fonda, and they are assigned only to the primary core of the finality. They are invaluable to the finaliters even now, and they will be all serviceable in the eternal future. No other group of intelligent creatures possesses such a personalized messenger core able to transcend time and space. Similar types of messenger recorders attached to other finaliter cores are not personalized. They are absonitized.
Absonitized. Very good.
Absonitized.
Okay, now remember, gravity messengers are the closest thing to instantaneous appearance. Okay, they move so fastly, so quickly. And I believe it's the, we're going to read down here in a minute, it's the gravity messengers have a core of 1,000 available to them to send messages wherever they are. So it's just not one, it's a gravity messenger and his core. Okay. So that's why they say they are all serviceable, because of the fact that they are the closest to instantaneous appearance wherever they go. So they can communicate all over the 7 super universe, almost as close to instantaneous as you can get. All right. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Lech, would you take the next one, please?
Okay. Gravity messengers hail from Divington, and they are modified and personalized adjusters. But no one of our Reversa group will undertake to explain the nature of one of these messengers. We know they are highly personal beings, divine, intelligent, and touchingly understanding, but we do not comprehend their timeless technique of traversing space. They seem to be competent to utilize any and all energies, circuits, and even gravity. Finaliters of the mortal core cannot defy time and space, but they have associated with them and subject to their command all but infinite spirit personalities who can. We presume to call gravity messenger personalities, but in reality, they are super spirit beings, unlimited and boundless personalities. They are of an entirely different order of personality as compared with solitary messengers.
All right. So they're really a super, right? If you think about it. They can move along all the energy circuits and all this, and they are different than the solitary messengers, right? The gravity messengers come from Divinington, and the solitary messengers. Let's click on the solitary messengers. Come out here. These are the ones that are aware of the inspired Trinity spirits, right? They can transmit messages 100 light years away. These are the ones that you send out a signal when they're close to one another so they don't run into each other. Right, like solitary messengers. That's right. And there's a lot of other things you could look this up over in the index and read through all of these if you'd like to.
Roger,
Yeah.
I don't remember. Are they created as needed, or?
I don't remember how those are, the solitary messenger are created. Let's look.
I think he was asking that.
Yeah. You're talking about the gravity messengers, the solitary messengers.
Gravity.
Oh, the gravity messengers. Yeah, the gravity messengers, Rodney, are personalized, are more like adjusters themselves. They're personalized adjusters. Okay, so they become, because they're personalized adjusters, they're not like a personality that's like we are. Okay, they've been personalized. That's an adjuster that's been personalized. So that's what turns into a gravity messenger. Okay, so you can think of, that's why they call them super spirit beings, because they're really as close to God the Father as you can get.
No kidding.
being an adjuster first, the father fragment, and then they are given personality by God the Father, right?
So they're really cool guys.
Yeah, yeah. And if I remember correctly, solitary messengers are given personality from the infinite spirit, right? Not God the Father. So that's why it's talking about different order of personality, entirely different order of personality, right? All right. All right. Let's see who's next. Rodney, I think you're next.
Okay. 2-3, correct?
Yeah.
Gravity
Mhm.
messengers may be attached to a finality company in unlimited numbers, but only one messenger, the chief of his fellows, is mustered into the mortal core of the finality. This chief, however, has assigned to him a permanent staff of 999 fellow messengers, and as an occasion may require, he may call upon the reserves of the order for his assistance in unlimited numbers.
So he himself has a staff of 999, right? There's only one gravity messenger that's mustered into the core, right? But he has 999 of his staff assigned to him, and he can draw upon an unlimited number of the gravity messengers as needed by the finality group. Okay, so that's why they can communicate instantaneously all over the universes, right? All right, Jane, would you take the next paragraph, please?
Okay. Gravity messengers and glorified mortal finaliters achieve a touching and profound affection for one another. They have much in common. One is a direct personalization of a fragment of the Universal Father. The other, a creature personality existent in the surviving immortal soul, fused with a fragment of the same Universal Father, the spirit thought adjuster.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, so that's how they're different, right? One is a glorified thought adjuster. One is a personalized thought adjuster, and the other is a human being that's come up, their father fragment fused with the soul of a human being. So that's why they said they have a touching, profound affection for one another. Okay.
Roger, you could almost say that one is a perfected adjuster, whereas the other is an experiential adjuster.
Yeah, you could call it that, right? And here is a picture of a gravity messenger, a mortal finaliter, and it shows Cenariting and Ascendington. Our home will be what? Ascendington, right? Because we are ascending beings, right? Cenariting, and so Cenariting is for the descending sons of God, son, right? Cenariting. And then we have Divinington down here, which is the home of what? The thought adjusters. Right? So it would make sense that the home for the gravity messengers start out to be Divinington. Right? All right, here we go. Glorified mortals, that's us, believe it or not. Gary, would you take that first paragraph?
Ascendant adjuster fused mortals compose the bulk of the primary core of the finaliters. Together with the adopted and glorified seraphim, they usually constitute 990 in each finaliter company. The proportions of the mortals and angels in any one group varies. Although the mortals far outnumber the seraphim, the Havana natives, glorified material sons, glorified midway creatures, the gravity messengers and the unknown and missing member make up only 1% of the core. Each company of 1,000 finaliters has places for just 10 of these immortals and
Non-mortals.
not these
Not-
non-mortals and non-seraphic personalities.
Okay, so just 10 out of this 1,000 are non-mortals, okay? And non-seraphic personalities, okay?
Non-seraphic is non-angel-like.
Non-seraphic. In other words, they're not angels, okay? That's been glorified and started the more finality. Now, on a core of finality, there could be 400 glorified angels, and there might be, 590 mortals. Why would that be? Because there are so many seraphim that go along with us on our pathway to paradise, right? So many of these angels go through the seraphic pathway to paradise, and they jump over and become part of the finality group when they get there. Okay, so that's why there's a higher number of seraphim or angels and mortals in those groups, because there's more angels going on that trip to paradise, just like we are. Not all of them, but many of them do. All right. Now, this is a nice little chart that kind of breaks it down. All right. Let me read the bottom of it, and you can kind of look at the pictures. The ascendant adjuster mortals compose the bulk of the primary core of finality. That is this, the glorified mortals, right? All right, and then some number, they're not sure, a large number of adopted seraphim, right? Compose different numbers of the group, okay? There's also the possibility of what?
Midway,
Alona natives. I can't hardly read that.
midway creatures.
Messenger.
Yeah, here we go. That's a little better, right? Move that over a little bit so we can see the numbers. The Havona natives, right, which is only one, right? The chief of the gravity messengers, there's one of those, right? Material sons and daughters, there can be a different number of those midwayers. There's 9 permanent members of the mixture of these, okay? And the material sons and daughters, who are those? Those are the Adam and Eves, right? That went on the process, okay? The ascendant plan. And then we have the primary and secondary midwayers, okay? That makes up the other 9 members of the past the 990. And what is the last one? Here's the answer. You get 5 points if you could have guessed this. One,
Angels of
evangel of light, the evangel of light, okay? Now, it says right here, the evangels it makes up 1% of the core. Each company of 1,000 finaler has places for just 10 of the non-mortal and non-seraphic personalities, but it only has 1 place for the evangel of light. Okay, and we're going to read all about who can become an evangel of light here in a second. Okay. And here's a picture of the secrets of divinity to include the secret of this bestowal and mission of the thought adjuster, their origin and technique, contact with the lowly creatures of the evolutionary world is a secret of this paradise sphere, Divinington. We know that Divinington is one of the satellites that go around paradise, right? All right. This sphere also holds the secrets of the nature, purpose, and activity of other forms of father fragment. That's what the gravity messengers are, right? Of the gravity messenger and the host of other beings unrevealed to you. So here are the personalized adjuster, the gravity messengers, and the virgin adjusters, and that's Divinington. Okay. Let's see, I think, did you just read, Jane? Yeah. Okay, Gary, would you take the next one?
We of Versa do not know the finality destiny of the ascendant mortals of time. At present, they reside on paradise and temporarily serve in the core of light and life. But such a tremendous course of ascendant training and such lengthy universe discipline must be designed to qualify them for even greater tests of trust and more sublime service of responsibility.
Okay, so what's that telling us? It's not just us going out and working in the 7 super universes that they're preparing us for. It's for our future, which they assume will be in the outer space levels. Okay, so that's what they say we're preparing for. And in the meantime, we're serving in the 7 super universes. All right. Diane, would you take the next one, please, dear?
Notwithstanding that these ascendant mortals have attained paradise, have been mustered into the core of the finality, and have been sent back in large numbers to participate in the conduct of local universes and to assist in the administration of super universe affairs. In the face of even this apparent destiny, there remains the significant fact that they are of record as only 6 stage spirits. There undoubtedly remains one more step in the career of the mortal core of the finality. We do not know the nature of that step, but we have taken cognizance of and here call attention to 3 facts.
Okay, so what they're pointing out to us here that the core of finality has been sent back in large groups. This is the problem that Lucifer had during the Lucifer rebellion. Remember, one of the things he complained about is that the mortal finality core went through all this extensive training in local universe and super universe affairs, and then they came back to the local and super universes to help with the administration. Because why? The outer space levels are not ready yet, are they? Right? But he was saying that this is a unglorified future for the finaliters, that they wasted their time in going through all this stuff to just come back and help out with the local stuff. Right? That was his complaint. All right. Of course, he couldn't do it too. That could have just be the jealousy, right? More than likely. Millie, would you take number 1 there?
Yes,
the 3 facts.
We know from the records of that mortals are spirits of the first order during their sojourn in the minor sectors, and that they advance to the second order when translated into a major sectors, and to the third when they go forward to the central training worlds of the super universe. Mortals can become quantran or graduate spirits after, say again.
Quartan.
Mortals can become quartan or graduate spirits after reaching the 6th circle of Havana, and become spirits of the 5th order when they find the universal father. They subsequently obtain the 6th stage of spirit existence upon taking the oath that musters them forever into the eternal assignment of the core of the mortal finality.
Okay, I go through all the way through this on this What Happens to You When You Die video, which is a very old video, made it in 2011. Not very exciting, but it takes you on the whole trip. Now, what I want to point out about this is if we go to the paragraph above that, it says here that there remains the significant fact that they are of record as only sixth stage spirits. You see that? Okay, and the next paragraph down breaks down where you become first stage spirits, second stage spirits, third stage, fourth stage, fifth stage, right?
Mhm.
When we know when we get to the minor, when we graduate the local universe, we get to the minor sector, we become what? First stage spirits. When we go to the major sector, we become second stage spirits. When we go to the training worlds of the super universe, we become third stage spirits, right? We became fourth stage spirits when we go to the sixth circle of Havona, okay? And fifth, when you finally find the universal father. When do you become six? When you enter into the core of finality, right?
Correct.
You take the oath. What do you think? When do we become seven stage spirits?
I thought it was when the 7 super universes were settled in light and life.
You think that's right, Rodney. You hit it right on the head, right?
And then the
When-
Supreme Being comes in
To
full
full fruition. That's right. We become seventh stage spirits all simultaneously. Everyone in the 7 super universes, when all the planets are settled in light and life, which is billions of years away, we all become seventh stage spirits at the same time, because the Supreme comes to full fruition. And guess what happens then? That's when we all go out to the outer space levels. Not till then.
Wow, that's a long ways away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a long ways away. A long, 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 long. As Millie used to say, that makes my brain hurt. That's too far away. It is
Billion
too
years.
far away. And billions of years, right? But that's when we become seven stage spirits. So, okay, so I've got some pictures. Here's you becoming a first stage spirit. What happens when you become a first stage spirit? You stand before Jesus and the creative mother spirit, and you want to hear what? Y'all know this.
Well done.
Well done.
Well done, my good and faithful servant, right? You're a first stage spirit after that. Then you go on to the third, you major the fifth, which is the third major sector. And guess what? You become a second stage spirit, right? And then you go on to the satellite worlds of Uversa, and you become a third stage spirit. See that little lady down there? She's got 3 marks across her chest. She's a third stage spirit. She's showing her stripes, right? All right, you go down a little bit far, and when she gets to the 6th circuit, guess what? She's got 4 stripes. She's a 4th stage spirit. All right, and then when she finally finds God the Father, she gets her little V, which is for 5, and she's a 5th stage spirit, right?
Sergeant.
Sergeant, that's right. Got your stripes, right? And then when you go into the mortal core of finality, you are a 6th stage spirit. Dang, that short trip there, wasn't it? For all that. All right. I believe Lech is up again here. Let me move this up a little bit forward.
Okay. We observed that spirit classification or designation has been determined by actual advancement from one realm of universe service to another realm of universe service, or from one universe to another universe. And we surmise that the bestowal of 7th spirit classification upon the mortal core of the finality will be simultaneous with their advancement to eternal assignment for service on hitherto unrecorded and unrevealed spheres, and concomitant with their attainment of God the Supreme. But aside from these bold conjectures, we really know no more about all this than you do. Our knowledge of the mortal career does not go beyond present paradise destiny.
And guess where our knowledge goes to? Just what they tell us, right?
Yes.
That's it. We don't have anything up on them, that's for sure, right?
How far can we go as mortals? How far can we?
We can ascend all the way to paradise and become part of the core of finality. And as
the
part of the, and that's it for right now. And as part of the core and finality, we can help administer universes and super universes and anything they assign us.
But we have to wait until we get the light and life, and then we can go out into outer space and start redesigning other universes.
Right. Well, we won't be designing it. We'll be administrating, right? They'll be sending beings out there. And there's all kind of conjecture where they'll be human, they'll be absentite, transcendental, or what type of beings they'll be out there. They even could be more mortal than we are mortal. We don't know yet. Nobody knows for sure, right? All right, it's all speculation. All right, number 2. That was all of that was number 1. Let's go to number 2. All right, Rodney, would you take number 2?
The mortal finalators have fully complied with the injunction of the ages, quote, be you perfect. They have ascended the universal path of mortal attainment. They have found God, and they have been duly inducted into the core of the finality. Such beings have attained the present limit of spirit progression, but not finality of ultimate spirit status. They have achieved the present limit of creature perfection, but not finality of creature service. They have experienced the fullness of deity worship, but not finality of experiential deity attainment.
So there's so much more to come, right?
Yeah.
So much more to come. All right, let's go ahead.
What they're
Yeah.
saying, finality of experimental deity attainment will happen after light and life.
Right, after light and life. That's right. So Jane, would you take the next one? We're going to get these last 2 and then we'll quit for tonight. We might be a little bit over, but that's okay.
Okay. The glorified mortals of the paradise core of finality are ascendant beings in possession of experiential knowledge of every step of the actuality and philosophy of the fullest possible life of intelligent existence, while during the ages of this ascent from the lowest material worlds to the spiritual heights of paradise, these surviving creatures have been trained to the limits of their capacity, respecting every detail of every divine principle of the just and efficient, as well as merciful and patient administration of all the universal creation of time and space.
So we've been filled up to our limit, haven't we? All the way to the top. All right. We got one more paragraph. Let's go ahead. And Gary, would you knock out that left? Huh?
Okay.
We've become perfected.
We've become perfected from our animal origin, right?
Okay. Okay. We deem that human beings are entitled to and that we are free to conjecture with us respecting the mystery of the ultimate destiny of the paradise core finalators. It seems evident to us that the present assignment of the perfected evolutionary creatures partake of the nature of postgraduate courses in universe understanding and super universe administration. And we all ask, why should the gods be so concerned in so thoroughly training surviving mortals in the technique of universe management?
And that's exactly what Lucifer couldn't understand, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
That was his complaint. He didn't know either, and he wanted to know, and they wouldn't tell him. Right? Didn't experience, wasn't his job, man. You right?
Wanted to skip all the steps.
He wanted to skip all the steps. That's exactly right. And it's exactly 7 o'clock. So we made it down to adopted seraphim, which we'll take up next time, I do believe. Oh, what an interesting paper. Let's see. Dear, would you like to close and pray now? Short one?
Short one.
Yeah.
You're muted.
Okay, how do you do it? I
Okay,
just-
I'll do it.
I'm sorry. I'm
That's
very
all right.
sorry.
It was a good
Father,
one.
it was a good one too. You should have heard the start. It was great.
Mm.
All right. Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight. Thank you for this wonderful, wonderful revelation. We look forward to our trip to paradise and becoming part of the core of finality. Keep us on focus, keep us on track, guide our steps along the way. It's a long journey, and we know that if we stay within your will, that we will one day stand there. We will be there. We know that for sure. How could we live a life without this revelation? How can we live a life not knowing the things you've taught us and shown to us through this wonderful revelation? I can't imagine those who came before us who lived without it. And I can't imagine those who are to come with the benefit of this going into the future. We thank you. We give you the praise in your son, Michael, Jesus of Nazareth. Amen.
Amen.
No.
And
I
thank
only get
everybody.
one thought, Roger.
Yes.
Jesus said, and you can correct me because I'm paraphrasing. If you're not faithful in the small things of this place, earth, how can you be
Faithful in the big
or
things.
put in charge in the bigger things?
That's right. Right.
So
And
he was
one-
referring to this probably.
this is exactly right, Jane. And when Jesus said this many times in his ministry, you have been faithful in the small things, you'll be given things to manage, great things to manage in the mansion worlds and in the future. So that's what we had to look forward to.
Yeah.
The management of these things. It's just a wonderful concept.
It's an
We
honor
think
to
of it.
read.
It
It's a
really
pure
is.
honor.
I've got
Let
a
me.
curiosity question.
Yes, Gary.
Fauna was the first human to
Grand Fonda. Yeah. Hmm.
no, Fonda. And Grand Fonda is the first ascender to make it into the finality core. Am I
Right.
correct?
Two different beings. Yeah. Fonda was the first human.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
They
has
named it.
Fonda ever made it yet?
Probably so.
We don't know.
We don't know. But this Grand Fonda was the first mortal to go through the ascension plan altogether. Fonda was the first mortal on this planet, but that was only 900,000 years ago. So I'm sure that she has not made it there
Oh
yet.
my God. Oh, she's
Yeah,
must
not even.
be second grade by this time.
Yeah, not even close. Let me go
Yeah.
ahead and sign off Facebook here. Thank you, everyone at Facebook, for
Thank you.
joining us. Please come see us as well. Stop the live screen. Go ahead and stop the recording.